looking live at a partying downtown Toronto this evening. The Blue Jays have just won, as you know, their second straight World Series. 1 million people in Yonge Street last year when the Blue Jays won it in Atlanta. There will be at least that many well into the morning in Yonge Street this year. The Blue Jays winning their second straight World Series on Joe Carter's dramatic 3-run home run in the bottom of the 9th inning. Only the second time that has ever happened that the World Series has been won on a home run in the bottom of the 9th inning. Bill Mazeroski did that the first time in 1960. We have more for you from the Blue Jays clubhouse. Let's go now to Rod Black.
How does this feel?
Butlerville's going crazy. East Jordan's going crazy. All I want to say is I love you all. I love everybody in Butlerville. I love everybody in East Jordan. I love everybody in Canada.
I know I talked to you earlier this season about your first Major League RBI. And I talked to you recently about what it was like to be in the series, to help contribute, to get a chance to play at the plate, to know that you were here and to accomplish a dream. How does that all feel?
It was a dream. It's all a dream that has come true. I can't believe what I'm feeling. I mean, I can't keep my feet still. Partway through the game, I couldn't even watch. I was so nervous about the outcome. And
I saw you in the tunnel. You didn't want to watch the game in the 7th. What did you think when Joe Carter put it out?
I was sitting on the bench and I was saying, Joe, if there's any time to do it, baby, do it now. And he did. And it was just, pandemonium. I can't even remember anything after that, just running.
Family and friends watching. A kid grows up and dreams about being here. Talk a little bit about the emotion being felt in Butlerville right now and from your family and friends who are watching.
Well, from everyone.
And your brother.
Oh, my brother, anyone who's always supported me. And, I wouldn't be here without them, to make it through all those days where you just want to give up. All those long bus rides, you're thinking, man, is it all worth it? And they've been there for me my whole career. My brother and I have been out there practicing every day, making all this happen, and it has happened. Rich, whoa, I love you, Rich!
Rob Butler, very happy. Enjoy yourself tonight. Jerry Dobson, back to you.
You're looking there at Don Cherry's Grapevine in Toronto now, a joyous occasion there, of course. And these guys are having all kinds of fun, no doubt about it. If we can keep our lenses clean and if we can keep Rod from drowning, we'll go back down to him. Let's go now back to Rod Black, and I believe he has Robbie Alomar standing by.
All right, we're just watching downtown Toronto. That looks pretty good out there, Robbie Alomar.
That's looking real good. I might be there in a little while.
Tell me about Joe Carter's home run, and we just talked a little bit about what that reminded you of.
Well, it reminded me of the home run that I hit against Eckersley, but this is more exciting. I feel real happy about Joe. I feel real happy about the team. I feel real happy about the city. We've done it again, and now we are the world champions.
What a series. Back and forth. You could not expect anything in this one. You were back and forth a little bit nervous in the final seconds there. If this went to a 7th game, perhaps it could have gone to the other guys.
Well, you got a little bit nervous, but we won the battle. We feel real happy about it. It was a great game from both sides, and I'm glad that I'm in the winning team.
First team to do this since the Yankees in 77, 78. You put your names in the record books. A chance perhaps next year for 3?
Well, we're going to try. For now, we're going to enjoy the second one. That's really important to me, and we feel real happy about this one. And I feel real happy about everybody. Everybody did a great job for us. All the guys did something, and we want to dedicate this to the fans here in Toronto.
All right, go enjoy your night. Jerry Dobson.
Okay, Rod, Robbie Alomar dedicating this win to the fans of Toronto. How appropriate with the Blue Jays winning it at home this year. And let's go back down and check out what's going on down in the streets of Toronto. And this will be happening all night long. We'll be back with more from Skydome in just a moment.
Subway's steak and cheese sub is not only delicious, it's easy to eat anywhere. To prove that fact, I'm going to eat my dinner here at the rodeo. No one's ridden rocket launcher for more than 8 seconds, so I'll have to eat fast, but you'll want to take your time to really savor tender steak and cheese on our fresh baked bread. One bite and you'll agree. Subway makes steak good.
Now when you buy one steak and cheese sub with a medium soft drink, you can get a regular 6-inch sub for just 99 cents at Subway.
Well, at least they get a meal on this flight.
Hey, Dad, you like tossing the ball?
You bet.
Honey, could you give me a hand?
Yeah.
Dad, could you toss me the cans, please?
Right there.
At Swiss Chalet, we always try to bring a little extra something to your table, like a warm smile and a good deal. So right now, our rib special is only $5.95, which is nice enough on its own. But what's just as nice is seeing that you enjoy it. The rib special, for a short time, just $5.95. And here's another little extra we bring to your table, just in case you need it.
I learned to hit with the broomstick and bottle cap. That cap would spin and curve, and that made me a good hitter. What I enjoyed most was putting the uniform on every day, just playing baseball. One of the greatest honors of baseball, getting in a Hall of Fame. Well, I've been American Express member since 1974.
American Express is welcomed at the Hall of Fame, and a lot of other places that bring out the kid in you.
Ricky Henderson, 89 in Oakland, 93 in Toronto. Add another ring to your finger.
Oh, that's outstanding, you know. I'm just a lucky man. I just say I'm just a lucky guy. You know, I come over from the Yankees to the A's, and we won it. Came from the A's to Toronto, win it again. It's just a great feeling.
You faced some criticism early in the series. You came back in a couple of games, in particular, got some base hits and contributed. You got on base tonight in that final inning. When Joe Carter put it out, you must have felt like the world was off your shoulders.
Oh, we felt like the world was off my shoulder, and everything had worked out to the best. You know, all the things that, you know, I've been through since Toronto, you know, through the nagging injury and stuff like this. This here put the icing on the cake. I enjoyed it more.
You've been a bit of a hired gun. Where are you going to be next year?
I don't know where I'm going to be next year. I hope I can be with the Blue Jays, but if I can't be with the Blue Jays, I hope I be with a winner.
All right, Ricky, enjoy your time. Celebrate.
All right.
Ricky Henderson. Jerry?
Back we go, live outside now where this party is just getting warmed up. Let's hope it's a civilized one. It was last year. We have no reason to suspect it shouldn't be a civilized one again this year. And we will be back with more from Skydome in downtown Toronto when we return in just a moment.
Molitor to right center. Well hit. Eisenreich on the run. Looking up. It's off the wall. White speeding toward third.
The keg creates a classic steak dinner. Top sirloin, grilled the keg way over hot, burning mesquite to seal in all its natural flavor and tenderness. Add a baked potato, crispy onion strings, and sautéed mushrooms. A generous Caesar salad, great service, that relaxed keg feeling, all included. See you tonight.
There's a freedom, there's a peace of mind, just imagine the world you could find. The freedom to find your dreams, just imagine what a wind could bring, just imagine. Motto 649.
Welcome back to a live scene outside Toronto. Lots of partying happening here. We're going to send you right back down into the Skydome Clubhouse. Rod Black standing by with Jack Morris, who do not pitch in this series.
Jack, mixed feelings, I'd imagine. Last year you were in a lot more celebratory mood. You're still drenched, however. You chose to be part of this team. You didn't have to wear the uniform at the end of this. You chose to be here and to help this team along the way, give them some moral boost anyway.
Well, it's different, I can say that, but I've always felt that everybody's a part of the team. Whether you're injured or not, you're a part of the team, and, you know, there is something to say for the moral support you have on the bench. Obviously, I would have much rather have been on the field and been a player than a watcher, but I'm very happy for these guys and what they overcame and accomplished by winning this another World Series for Canada and for themselves, really. It's just a damn good thing to watch and be a part of.
You said you were a watcher. You got a good view of that ball sailing out. Have you seen anything like that before?
Oh, I've seen many home runs. I've seen them from different angles, believe me.
What about next year, Jack? Where will you be? Where will you play? Can you come back?
Well, I'm going to pitch. I'm very confident I'm going to pitch. I really don't know what's in the cards for next year. I would like to remain with Toronto, but they have a decision to make, and it's a financial decision more than likely. And whether or not I'm here, I don't know. But I guess I should take this opportunity to thank everybody in Canada for the way they support this ball club, the way they've supported me through it all, and I did my best, and I'll continue to do my best.
You told Canada last year to go out and party in the streets because you were coming home with a championship. They're partying now in the streets.
Yeah, they like to party, those Canadians. I don't understand it.
Well, Jack, enjoy your party tonight. Jerry, back to you.
Okay, Rod. Jack Morris, of course, could be cut loose by the Blue Jays at any time now, or he could be asked to come back to spring training. Big game for the Blue Jays tonight. Some very big hits, including a home run by Paul Molitor. Are we going to see that now? Oh, perhaps maybe not. Yes, we are going to see this home run by Paul Molitor. What an incredible season he has had in his first year of a 3-year contract.
The game 7 somewhat with a tremendous blast into the second deck and left. They were chanting MVP very faintly in some sections of Sky Dome when he stepped in.
Paul Molitor, MVP of this series. Devon White had a good shot of being the MVP, too. This game was something else. So was this series. You may not call it a classic by any stretch, but it had a lot of different moments, didn't it?
I would call it a classic because, you know, I haven't seen a World Series that ended like that. And, you know, as far as Paul Molitor goes, I think he deserved it. I mean, he took it from me literally. If I had a good game, you know, it would be, you know, a good chance, but he deserved it. And, you know, what else can you say? All year long, he is, you know, lift us up and... Thank you.
You didn't
I set up for that one.
Well, you didn't have to shower now.
Oh, man, I should walk out on the field like that, huh?
How does this one compare to last year?
I think this one is much more exciting. I mean, the high scoring, I mean, that's what the hitters and, you know, the fans want to see. You don't want to see a 2-1 World Series or a 3-2. You want to see some runs on the board.
Can you say enough about the Philadelphia Phillies? Game 4, they very easily could have won that. You come back with a big 8th inning. They come back with a big 7th inning tonight. They're a gutsy team.
They're very gutsy. I give them a lot of credit. Like I got on first base in the first inning and I said to Kruk, I mean, it's been great, and whatever happens, it's been a great series, and I enjoy it. And, you know, what can you say? You know, little Lenny Dykstra, he ain't little to me anymore. He's a big man. He's a big man. I mean, he has a lot of heart, and he made this series. When he came up to the plate, he put fear in a lot of the pitchers' heart.
Well, so did 2 center fielders, Devon White and Lenny Dykstra. Devon, congratulations. Jerry, let's go back to you.
Thank you.
Rod, it is 12:15 Eastern Time. It is now Sunday morning in Toronto, but this party will still be going well into the day. As we go back now to you, Rod, with Al Leiter, I understand.
Al Leiter, have you seen anything like this in your life? What a series, 6 games that were as unpredictable from the get-go.
That's exactly right. I mean, we never, ever anticipated or took that team for granted. I mean, that's a hell of a ball club over there, and some people figured they would win, and we always had the confidence that we'd come through here.
It would have been very difficult, I would think, had you not won this game tonight, to go into a Game 7 with this team, knowing the guts and the grit that they have.
Absolutely. I mean, to go up 3-1, I mean, the pressure definitely probably would have felt it on our part. I mean, you're up 3-1. I mean, everyone's pretty much anticipating us to win, and now they tie it up. I mean, the ball is definitely in their court and rolling, so we're so thankful. Joe come up with the big hit, and it's been outstanding.
What a World Series for you. Winning pitcher Game 1. You have some thrills and spills in Game 4. That wild one, you get a base hit.
Yeah.
You contribute in the final game. And a happy birthday, too.
Thank you. What a birthday present. I mean, this is outstanding. And to actually come in and help out and keep the team close and then allow us to go ahead in the ninth is unbelievable.
Speaking of close, how close is this team? You know, last year you lost a lot of players. It was a close-knit team, first World Series. I had a feeling especially coming into the series, there was more of a family atmosphere in this dressing room?
Well, I feel that, but I'm not one to really observe that stuff anyway. I realize that, I take care of myself, and of course, most of the guys, I mean, you put 25 guys together anywhere, I mean, you don't know if everyone going to get along, but as far as I'm concerned, this has been a great bunch of guys all year, and it's been unbelievable, and really a bunch of nice guys, and we won.
Oh, thanks.
You're wet. Let's get a little wet.
Could you have asked for a better birthday present than this?
No, not at all. Not at all.
You didn't have to give me any of
unbelievable.
that. Thanks, Al. Congratulations.
Not the first time you've been drenched tonight, Rod, and certainly not the last. Al Leiter, of course, with blister problems for much of his Toronto career. He seems to have that sorted out, and he's going great guns. Let's go back now to Rod and John Olerud.
Jerry, send me a towel quick. At least you got a cap there. John Olerud, how does this one compare to last year?
Boy, I don't know. They're both a great field. There you go, Ole. All right. Oh. No, they're. I don't think. I don't think it's really easy to describe the feeling. They're both great feeling. You go through an emotional roller coaster ride with the playoffs and the World Series. They're all pressure-packed games, all tough competitions. And to come on top and win the championship, it's just a great feeling. Hard to explain.
What a year for you, American League batting champion. You flirted with 400. You had the batting streak, all-star game. All of this all together. You going to pinch yourself one of these days?
Well, I'm going to try to avoid pinching myself for as long as possible. It was a great year. It was a lot of fun, and you just couldn't put an ending on it any better than this one. It was just a great year.
You're going to lose some players, undoubtedly. Can this be duplicated? Can you make it 3 in a row?
Well, I don't know. Everybody was talking about how tough it would be. It'll just be interesting to see. Last year we lost a lot of guys, and I think we made some replacement that filled some big holes, and we'll just have to see how the off season goes and what happens. But I hope we'll be back in there because it's a lot of fun.
Congratulations. Before you go, look up at that monitor and take a look at the streets of Toronto. Can you describe this young street tonight?
Well, we'll get to see it firsthand this time around. Last time we just heard about it on the flight back from Atlanta.
John Olerud enjoying the night. So are all of the people in Toronto, all the Blue Jay fans across Canada. The celebration continues. We'll be back after this.
You didn't choose your face. But you can at least choose your glasses. Napoléon Eyewear. Change la face du monde.
You've taken a close look and thought about it a lot. What can I do about my hair loss? Now a permanent solution is available from the Seeger Hair Transplant Clinic. Performed by Dr. David Seeger, a new technique for hair transplantation from the back or side to the bald area. No more hairpiece systems or weaves. Dr. Seeger's methods produce incredibly natural results with your own growing hair. Call the Seeger Hair Transplant Clinic in the court at Scarborough's Centenary Hospital.
Right now at Mazda, we're making all the moves to move the 93s with minimum discounts of $1,000 on 323, Protégé, MX-6 Mystère, and Mazda trucks. A $2,000 minimum discount on 626 Chronos and the family-size MPV. And a $4,000 minimum discount on the luxurious 929 Serenia. See dealers for details.
Whatever it takes, we gotta make the moves.
2-2. Well hit down the left field line. Way back in. Joe Carter with a 3-run homer. The winners and still world champions, the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, times are you going to see this play over and over and over again over the course of the next few days? Joe Carter, 7 for 25 in the World Series. He had 7 hits, but the one that counted most, of course, his very last hit of the season. That 3-run homer that defeats the Philadelphia Phillies by a score of 8-6 in Game 6 of the World Series. The Blue Jays, of course, and the Phillies split the first 2 games here in Toronto. Then the Blue Jays won 2 of 3 in Philadelphia. They came back here and won it 8-6 on Joe Carter's bottom of the 9th inning 3-run home run. The first time, actually the second time, that a World Series has ended in the bottom of the 9th on a home run. Bill Mazeroski of the Pittsburgh Pirates did it in Game 7 against the Pittsburgh Pirates, for the Pittsburgh Pirates against the New York Yankees. Let's go back now into a very wet and joyful Blue Jay clubhouse and Rod Black.
Yeah, there you are. Dwayne Ward is here. You normally go into a save situation. You normally don't go in when you're trailing the game. Who would have thought that would have occurred? Who would have thought Joe Carter would have put it out the way he did? But who would have thought anything like this happened in this series?
Well, who would have thought anybody was going to repeat? But it happened, and it's, like I said, it's been the first time 15 years. And I'll tell you what, I got nothing but good things to say about this ball club here and this organization. I mean, they've put together as good a team as you possibly can out there on the field. And when you get somebody like a Paul Molitor, a Dave Stewart, a Joe Carter, Robbie Alomar, John Olerud, I mean, you can go down a whole list of ball players here that contributed so much to this ball club, you know, and unsung heroes like Pat Henkin. And, I mean, you can't say enough about them. I mean, I'm just so happy to be a part of something like this.
Cito Gaston, too. Can we talk about him for a minute? A lot of people second-guess, a lot of people criticize. Somehow it all works out for him.
Well, it seems like, you know, no matter what you do, you know, somebody's going to second-guess you. I mean, whether it be, you know, players, management, media, fans, whatever. Cito goes out there and he goes with his gut feeling. He has a game plan, he sticks to it, and he doesn't waver from it. Tonight, you know, I mean, he called me out there to go pitch the 9th inning, you know, and I think his, you know, thinking behind that was to go out there and make sure that they didn't get any more runs, to give this offense a chance to come back and score 1 or 2 and, you know, see what happens from there. And it so happens we scored 3 and we end up clinching this thing.
How are you going to celebrate this? What are you going to do?
Oh, shoot, right now, throwing a lot of beer around, throwing a lot of champagne around, and I can see you've been smoking away here. But no, I'm just going to take this and just look back on it and just say, you know, we've been part of history, and hopefully that this ball club will enjoy it, this organization will enjoy it, and I hope the fans out there in Toronto enjoy it, man. I'll tell you what, this one here, we won it here in the hometown. I hope everybody out there enjoys it.
Dwayne Ward, a winner, too. Jerry Dobson.
Okay, Rod, the Philadelphia Phillies have been around over almost a century. The Toronto Blue Jays since 1977, but guess what? The Toronto Blue Jays lead the Phillies now in World Series titles 2-1. The Phillies have been to the World Series 3 times. They've only come away with 1 win. The Blue Jays now have 2. And let's go back now to the clubhouse and Rod and Ed Sprague.
Yeah, Ed Sprague is down here with us. World Series hero last year with the big belt. Did you stop that already? Ed, wow, 2 in a row. I know this series could have gone the other way, and I know this team has been sort of a team that really has been able to dig deep at some tough times. You look at your batting lineup, many people thought that you would not have lost this series, but credit the Philadelphia Phillies. They are a game bunch.
There's no question. I mean, you got to give them a lot of credit. I mean, they got people have a tendency to look at, you know, at the long hair and the beards or whatever image they want to look at, but the bottom line is those guys are good professional ball players, and that's what it's all about. I mean, they played a hell of a series. To come back, you know, and score 5 runs in that 6th, 7th inning, whatever they did. I mean, you know, they're a great team. I mean, they could be doing the same thing we could be doing right now. They could have won that 15-14 game, and they could have won tonight's game, and they could be celebrating. But this team has a lot of character, too, and we weren't going to die.
You did not want to go to a Game 7, I think.
I don't think anybody wants to go to a Game 7. There's no question about it. We would have been ready for a Game 7. We certainly were confident with Pat Henkin on the mound. But, I mean, certainly everybody wants to get it done as soon as they can.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ed Sprague, third baseman, first baseman, World Series champion tonight. Jerry?
And lost in all of this, the Toronto Maple Leafs have set a new NHL record, 9 straight wins to open the season. They beat Tampa Bay tonight by a score of 2-0. So a big night in sports for Toronto hockey fans and baseball fans. We'll be back with more in just a moment from Skydome.
The Keg creates a classic steak dinner. Top sirloin, grilled the Keg way over hot, burning mesquite to seal in all its natural flavor and tenderness. Add a baked potato, crispy onion strings, and sautéed mushrooms, a generous Caesar salad, great service, that relaxed keg feeling, all included. See you tonight.
There's a freedom, there's a peace of mind. Just imagine the world you could find. The freedom to find your dreams. Just imagine what a wind could bring. Just imagine. Lotto 649.
The Toronto Blue Jays, as if you didn't know, had won the 1993 World Series, beating the Philadelphia Phillies by a score of 8-6 this evening on Joe Carter's 3-run home run in the bottom of the ninth. Rod, you're down there, you're soaking wet. Everybody's pretty happy, though, I guess. Is it different than it was last year?
Yeah, I think it really is different because I know the Blue Jays know that they are going to go outside with their family and their friends and the rest of Toronto and the rest of Canada. They don't have to travel back, and the celebration they felt inside the Sky Dome, the fireworks. You know, I've been to the All-Star game here, and you've been to the ALCS here before, and the World Series games, but I don't think you've ever seen anything quite as loud as it was, even from the beginning of tonight's game. The fans wanted them to do it tonight. It got very quiet, Jerry, as you know, in that 7th inning, but boy, it was like a New Year's Eve night when Joe Carter put that out.
Rod, at the end of the game there, I thought I saw maybe some tears in Cito Gaston's eyes. Paul Molitor looked very emotional. Did you get that when they came into the dressing room?
Yeah, they still had misty eyes. As Cito told Tim McCarver of CBS that as soon as he saw Paul, he broke down, and that happens. We're gonna hang on for a second. We got Paul Beeston. We're going to quickly get Paul. Congratulations, 2 in a row.
Rod, outstanding. I mean, the credit goes to Cito. I think it goes to Pat and everybody put the team together. We tried to do it when we started out this year, and all of a sudden, you know, the whole thing worked out, so you can't beat it.
Now you got to go right back to work, and there are going to be some people who aren't going to be here again like last year. I know you have to cut your payroll, too. Your thoughts? I know you'd like to savor each moment. Can this team come back and make it 3? Is it possible?
Well, let me tell you, you cannot be a 3-peat unless you're a 2-peat. I mean, so we've done the 2-peat. That goes, the credit goes, they say, player development, Pat, Cito, everybody else. Yeah, I think that we'll be trying to do it again next year, and it's too quick or too early. I mean, this is a time to have some fun. This is a time to rejoice in what they did this year, and I'd like to think that, you know, we're not even going to worry about who's not going to be here. Thank the people that have been here.
Well, enjoy your time, Paul. Congratulations. This team in a series that it really could have gone the other way as well.
Pretty good ending to it, wasn't it, Rod? I mean, you would think about it. I mean, it was scripted very, very well.
All right. It was a good script. It was a good script, final ending, maybe an improbable ending to a World Series that was very up and down, to say the least. The Philadelphia Phillies, credit them for giving a great shot, the team that went from worst to first and then to the World Series, and they were nothing to spit at, to pardon the pun. The Toronto Blue Jays, however, did the double play. 2 in a row. Another World Series comes to Toronto. We will say goodnight from the dressing room and take a very quick musical look back at this World Series between the Phillies and the champions, the Blue Jays.
Waving off Thompson, and they miss Williams. And that's a lob down the right field line. A great catch by Alomar. The Gold Glover in the dirt. Here comes a runner to the plate, and he is safe. A bullet to right. That one might land in Jamaica. Second, crunch. Base hit through the drawn-in infield. Well hit, base hit. White is in. Carter will score. In the air to center. Devon White racing back at the wall. Can't get it. Stottlemyre around second, and he'll try for third after hesitating. Stalker's relay out at third. Hernandez lost one to right. It falls for a hit. Olerud is in. Molitor to third. Game corners and two to the left. Tries the right one. The other way, a good bunt. Alomar can't make the play. Stalker will have at least two as the ball hit the stands where they shut out in right. It's a double and a 2-0 Philadelphia lead. There's a base hit. Caliente streaking toward third, and he'll get there as the throw is cut off. Caliente is out, and Butler did not move to third. He struck him out. Line to center. Dykstra is there. The Phillies win. Molitor to right center. Well hit. Eisenreich on the run. Looking up. It's off the wall. White speeding toward third. He'll come around to score. Molitor into third with a triple. And the Blue Jays lead 1-0. Yossi said he wouldn't know till tomorrow. Leiter reducing the likelihood of a Game 7 somewhat with a tremendous blast into the second deck and left. Well hit to right, way back, and that one is way out of here. Second deck home run for Lenny Dykstra. And all of a sudden, it's a one-run game, 5-4. Dykstra waving off Thompson, and they misplay it. And that's a lob down the right field. Well hit down the left field line. Way back in. Here comes the run. Joe Carter with a 3-run homer. The winners and still world champions, the Toronto Blue Jays.
This has been a special presentation of CTV Sports.
Now, you'll have to find something else to talk about Monday mornings. CTV's W5 with Eric Malley, now on Thursdays at 10. Decision 93, October 25th on CTV.
Continental and United Airlines. From more places in Canada to 440 cities in 58 countries. Hellos and goodbyes. This is what it's all about.
You didn't choose your face. You can at least choose your glasses. Napoléon Eyewear change la face du monde.
The insurance business can be a hazardous place, an uneasy economy, a jagged stock market, failed real estate, junk bonds. One company protects its policyholders by shunning risky investments, offering solid supplemental insurance coverage, combining prudent judgment with dedicated service. That company is Aflac. Aflac, insuring over 35 million people worldwide.
Be our guest this fall at Walt Disney World. Call 407-WDisney. CFTO TV Channel 9 in Toronto.
Sweet victory. The Jays do it again. Jean Chrétien primed for victory. And designing woman a portrait encouraged.
CTV News with Sandy Ronaldo.
Good evening. Last year they won it for Canada. This year they won it in Canada. Once again, the Toronto Blue Jays are the World Series champions. They came from behind to beat the Philadelphia Phillies tonight in Toronto and took the series 4-2. The Blue Jays are the first team to win baseball's big prize 2 years in a row since the New York Yankees of the 1970s. And they're the first to wrap it up with a game played outside the United States. Here's how it ended.
That was a flat-footed strike. Joe Carter, a flat-footed swing.
The Jays went into the bottom of the ninth inning trailing 6-5 with 2 men on base. Joe Carter ended it with this home run swing. Final score, Blue Jays 8, Phillies 6. Toronto fans are sometimes accused of being a bit sedate, but not tonight. They're out on the streets doing what victorious fans are supposed to do. And CTV's Peter Murphy is in the midst of the madness on downtown Yonge Street. Peter, I can certainly hear it, so tell me what it's like down there.
Sandy, it's absolute pandemonium down here. There are not thousands of people. There are not tens of thousands. There are hundreds of thousands of people. I've never seen anything like it. About the middle of the ball game, people started coming out onto Yonge Street when the Blue Jays began to win, and there were a few thousand people. By about the 7th inning, they had to close off Yonge Street. But when the Jays won this game, thousands of people began to pouring in. They're chanting, they're singing, they're dancing, they're carrying Canadian flags, they're carrying Blue Jay banners. The crush was so bad just a couple of minutes ago that it began to get very scary. But it's a boisterous crowd, it's a joyous crowd, but it is a very big crowd, and I've never seen anything like it in Toronto except maybe last year.
Peter, you and I did this last year. Let's talk about that for a second. Is the feeling any different tonight than it was then?
Well, Sandy, the decibel level last year was about a million. This year it's about 2 million. And last year, if there was 100,000 people, there must be 300,000 people out here tonight. It is jam-packed on Yonge Street. You can't move on Yonge Street from about Bloor down to Front Street. Now, that's about a mile or a mile and a half. So that's several 100,000 people. It is wild. It is absolutely wild down here. This is much bigger than last year.
All right, Peter, before we let you go, when's the victory parade?
Well, the victory parade is at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Toronto time, and it starts at the provincial legislature, makes its way down to the Dome. There'll be 50,000 people in the Dome, but we expect several 100,000, maybe a million people will show up and line the route along University Avenue.
All right, well, Peter, have fun out there. Thanks. Okay, well, while the Blue Jays are on top of the world tonight, the rest of the country is getting ready to throw a curveball through Canadian politics. Jean Chrétien expects to come out on top of this contest Monday. Today, he was savoring his election lead and trying not to get caught up in a charge of patronage. CTV's Ken Ernhoff will...
Ahead on TSN Sports Desk.
Now the 2-2. Well hit down the left field line. Way back and Joe Carter with a 3-run.
They've done it again. The Toronto Blue Jays are repeat World Series champions. First time that's been done in 15 years. A vastly different cast of characters this time around, making that feat that much more impressive. The changes are too numerous to mention. There's not much doubt that Dave Stewart and Paul Molitor were the Jays' two biggest off-season acquisitions. In the clincher, Stewart cruised through 6 innings before getting hit hard. Molitor provided some key offense as part of his MVP performance. But in the end, it was a Blue Jay veteran that stole the show and brought the World Series back to Toronto again. Dave Stewart on the mound with his icy stare, and he starts off very well. Lenny Dykstra, Cade on 3 straight pitches. Terry Mulholland on the hill for Philly, looking to become just the second Philly to win 2 World Series games. Steve Carlton was the first back in 1980. It didn't look good early on as Paul Molitor hit a shot to the wall and right. Devon White was on first base. You come in to score. Molitor has a triple, and the Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Molitor later scored on a Joe Carter sac fly. Then Roberto Alomar singles past Kevin Stocker, who dives, can't get to it. John Olerud comes in to score, and it's 3-0 for the Jays after 1. Jim Fregosi feeling the heat now. Meanwhile, Dave Stewart continued to pitch well. Mariano Duncan at the plate. Duncan, swing and a miss to end the 3rd inning. Top of the 4th now, the Phillies get something going. Darren Dalton hits a looper to left field. It will drop. Darren Dalton's looper will get him to second because he beats out Ricky Henderson's throw. He is safe, and that will come back to haunt the Blue Jays because the next batter, Jim Eisenreich, singles up the middle. Dalton will come in to score, and it's 3-1 Jays. Bottom of the 4th now, the Jays get the run back. Roberto Alomar hammers a shot to left field. It is just shy of a home run, but it does get Alomar on second base. He would go to 3rd and then score on Ed Sprague sac fly. 4-1 Toronto. Bottom of the 5th, Paul Molitor adds to the lead, belts his shot to left field. It's gone, and it's 5-1 for the Blue Jays. And the Jays look like they'll be adding another banner to the ceiling of the Sky Dome. But the Phillies had ideas of their own. Top of the 7th, they make a game of it. Dave Stewart still on for the Jays. Now he's in trouble. Lenny Dykstra launches this one to right field. There were 2 runners on. It's a 3-run shot, and suddenly the Phillies are within a run. It is only 5-4 for the Jays. That was it for Stewart. He's gone. Danny Cox in. Mariano Duncan steals second. He is safe as he beats the throw. Then Dave Hollins follows that up with a base hit up the middle. Because of the stolen base, Duncan scores, ties the game at 5. Al Leiter then comes in, replacing Danny Cox. Sac fly to center field. Dave Hollins scores easily from 3rd. The Phillies take a 6-5 lead. Dave Stewart in the dugout having trouble watching this one. We go to the bottom of the 8th now. Pat Ford is at the plate, bases loaded. But Larry Anderson gets him to pop up. Ends the inning, ends the threat. We go to the 9th now. Now we're in the bottom of the 9th. The Wild thing into close things for the Phillies. He walks Ricky Henderson, the first batter he faces. The Blue Jays getting excited. The Philly bench getting a little bit nervous. One away in the 9th inning. The Wild thing looking at Joe Carter. Carter's got a couple of runners on. The fans hoping for a miracle.
Now the 2-2. Well hit down the left field line. Way back in.
Joe Carter does it. Back-to-back World Series victory for the Blue Jays. Thanks in huge part to Joe Carter's home run. The only other time a World Series has been decided by a home run was back in the 1960 World Series as Bill Mazeroski's solo shot won it for the Pirates over the heavily favored New York Yankees. The MVP of the World Series this time around, Paul Molitor. 12 for 24 in the series, batting .500 with 2 home runs. He tied a World Series record for extra base hits in a 6-game series. He had 2 homers, 2 triples, and 2 doubles. With more from the Sky Dome, here's Rod Smith.
The script has been written many times and acted out many more by kids in a playground fantasizing about their big moment in Major League Baseball. But it's rare that fantasy becomes reality. For Joe Carter and the Toronto Blue Jays, it did on this playground where they became back-to-back World Series champions.
I'd say the home run really hit home, you know, around the bases. And then when you touch home plate, you see everybody there waiting for you. The fans will jump up and down. And you say, wow, we just won back-to-back championships. And it really didn't sink in until I'm on the ground laying down. They finally picked me up and let me get up. And I look up and it says, you know, you look out, it says world champions. And it's like back-to-back. I mean, that's a great feeling. Hey, Beast. Hey, man. You said home run. Yeah, I know. It was a 3-1 homer. Oh, I missed it.
I will say that it's the best year I've had, and I can't explain why at 37 and what everything I've been through, injuries and coming over here, why that would happen, but the timing was pretty good.
That's right. As a boy, you think about the last inning of the World Series. In the 9th inning, hit a home run to win it. Joe Carter did it, and like I said, it could happen to a better guy.
This is why you work. This is what you're here for, you know, to go all the way. And, you know, this is my second one, and I feel real proud of it. This is Paul Molitor first, and I feel real happy about it.
Joe hit a big one today. I know he was saying early today, I heard from some of the guys that, hey, get on my back, I'm going to carry you today. But it was a team effort all the way around.
Oh, this is a great feeling, you know. Winning the ball club, I think this is a great feeling. But coming over to Toronto and the things I went through, you know, I couldn't ask for anything about it. It turned out to be, put the icing on the cake.
I'm just happy for my players, and as long as they respect and give me credit and go out and play hard, that's all I care about.
What I'm going to think about is the fact that we got here to the World Series. I let my team down tonight, and I'm not going to go home and commit suicide or anything like that. I still have a job to do next year. I'm going to come back next year and try and do the same job I did this year.
You know, we came close. I mean, let's put it this way. We got 2 more outs. I mean, I think there have been a lot of different things going through people's minds, but it didn't happen. It's over now. Toronto won. They were the better team.
It's a team loss, and it was one we didn't really want, but you know, we knew it was possible. You know, one team only wins every year, and unfortunately for us, it wasn't us this year.
You're shocked, you're disappointed, but you're also, I mean, this team is real happy with the way the team did this year. We're proud of all the guys. Everybody did a great job. I mean, we need to hold our heads up high for that reason. I mean, we got to the World Series, and that's more than a lot of people even dreamed of that we would do. And you know, we're proud of the team. We're proud of all the fans. The fans stuck behind us, and you know, it's just it's a tough way to lose.
And this team did what they've done all year long. They battled back. And, you know, I think that once we're able to, you know, get away from here and reflect on that, you know, that's going to be something a little bit special than just folding up the tents and going home.
As a fitting end to this World Series, the play of veteran Paul Molitor, 37 years of age, and the MVP, earning it all the way. It's his first World Series ring. A lot of these Blue Jays now have 2, Joe Carter being one of them. He says he can't compare the feeling of this year and last year, but he is at least one link to the 2. In both cases, he was the last one to touch the ball. Rod Smith, PSN, in Toronto.
And now word that Mitch Williams may have had a lot more than baseball on his mind as he took the mound on Saturday night. It seems that after his loss to the Jays in Game 4, some disgruntled Philly fans sent him death threats.
And those guys think they're helping by maybe they're drunk or having fun or think they're, it's going to do something to make a difference. But it's a game, you know. We won and lost to the team. The guy had 43 saves, and, you got to hear stuff like that before you go to the World Series game in Toronto.
Not much doubt about the fact that Joe Carter is now a part of Major League Baseball history. We've been watching Bill Mazeroski's home run for years. Now Carter has made his mark. After the game, the Blue Jays World Series hero spoke to our Rod Smith.
All right, thank you. Last year, I don't expect you to remember this, but after you guys won the World Series, I had the pleasure of talking to you, and one thing you said to me, you can't imagine anything ever topping what that experience was. Are you going to take those words back now?
What a difference a year makes. Last year, the first time was definitely the sweetest, but to go out and win it on offense, the bottom of the ninth, with a 3-run homer, it's only the second time in World Series history. This is going to be tough to beat. You can't think of a better situation. I was very happy, not only for myself, but mainly for my teammates to be able to come through because they put a lot of, we cheer for one another, we believe in one another, and they were pulling for me. And, I went back in and watched the replay. The first thing I wanted to see was how the teammates reacted. And, man, that was a joy for them to watch. Mr. Sprague.
Joe, it's hard to imagine, but how many times did you imagine it, either in Little League or in the backyard or whatever, any park growing up?
You can write any number you want and put 3 dots beside it. That's how many times I imagined it. Every kid, every dream as a kid that you have, it's always the bottom of the ninth. It's the last game of the World Series. And you hit the game-winner home run to win the ball game to help your team win the World Series. I guarantee you, every baseball player who's ever played the game has dreamt that and done it numerous times. Not everybody gets a chance to do it, but I can look back and say, for one moment, I did that.
Is that moment frozen in time as you rounded first base or as you saw the ball leave the park?
I tell you what, when I hit the ball, I didn't know if it was going to get out. I lost it because it went through the lights. And then I saw it was going to get out, and it was like, I don't believe this. I can't believe it. Last year it was me jumping up and down at first base, and everybody said they'll always have that memory of me jumping up and down. I think I topped it a little bit more. They'll still have a memory of me jumping them down, but this time it will be because of a game-winning home run. And when the ball cleared the fence, it was like a little kid at Christmas time in a toy store. And that's the way I feel right now.
I know that you've been denied the pleasure of enjoying all this and talking to us in the media. One final question just about the rebuilding job, because I know your good friend Dave Winfield was gone and Molitor came in and Dave Stewart came in and there were so many changes. Were you thinking at the time that you could get back and win the World Series?
Yeah, I definitely felt we could. Last year's team was a great ball club all the way around. We didn't have as much offense as we did this year, but I think the complete package, if you rated us last year between a 1 and 10, we were a 10, and that's a great ball club. This year, I say that between a 1 and 10, we were probably a 9. And that's still a great ball club. We were a little bit less powerful as far as the pitching staff was concerned from this year, but we still had a great offensive ball club, and we knew that maybe it could carry over and take up the slack where we liked the depth in the pitching staff. But once September came around, the guys got focused. All these veteran guys, Dave Stewart, Paul Molitor, Robbie, Devon, these guys turned it on, and they knew what was ahead in store for them. They came out. We still, we don't have the Winfields and the Keys and the Whales and the Hinkies, but I guarantee you they were definitely a big part of this because I know that they were there in front of the TV camera cheering for us.
How much sleep do you think you'll get tonight?
None. 0.
Congratulations once again. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Now back to you.
Thanks very much, Rod. You've heard from the players. Coming up next on Sports Desk, we'll whisk you right across the country, starting in Toronto, where the celebrations are getting to be old hat on Yonge Street, but certainly not boring.
In reality, there is life after work. And there is a place for clothes at work, just as well off the job as they do on it. Reality is you only got so much money to go around, so you want fair prices on clothes that can do a job for you all the time. That's where you come in, for what looks good and what works even better. Because there's more to life than collecting a paycheck. There's Mark's Work Warehouse and clothes at work.
To say you don't get something for nothing, well, most of the time, I guess that's true. But Shriners Hospitals for Crippled Children gives some of the best medical care in the world to kids with orthopedic problems, and they don't charge a dime. No catch. It's just something the Shriners have loved doing for 70 years. So if you know a child with bone or muscle problems who needs excellent medical care in friendly surroundings, call toll-free for information. Shriners Hospitals for Crippled Children.
Welcome back. Just seconds after Joe Carter settled things with his dramatic World Series winning home run, the celebrations began. Over 50,000 fans flooded out of the Sky Dome onto the streets of downtown Toronto. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Every bar and living room in the entire city cleared out very quickly as well. The end result? One heck of a street party.
One of the more popular spots to watch Game 6 is the newly opened Wayne Gretzky's near Sky Dome. Outside of Sky Dome, fans spill out of the stadium and head for the streets.
I'm here with my friends tonight, and my best friend here is Uriel. He's protecting me somewhat. As you can see, everybody's very orderly here in Toronto. The second time in a row for a World Series. See you later. Bye.
I'm happy to report Mark did come back. He is just fine. Big celebration in Toronto, but this was a party without city limits. This is a title that the entire country can share. They were waving the Blue Jay banner right across our nation. We'll start in Vancouver.
Welcome to the Shark Club here in Vancouver, where they're going just a little crazy for the Blue Jays. Yeah. What's your name?
Stacy. I like to say hi to all the people in Pickering, Ontario.
You're from Toronto. You were in the Sky Dome this time last year.
Last year, yeah, it was great. I'm having a better time this year.
What's your name?
Alina.
How much do you love the Jays?
Pardon me?
How much do you love the Jays?
I love them to death. I'd like to say hi to everybody in Saskatchewan. Hi.
Who we got over here? What's your name? My name's Rob. I'm from Toronto 2 years ago. And those Toronto Blue Jay fans deserve it. Yes. All right. All the way. How good was this one?
Hey, this is beautiful. I can't ask for a better finish. And hey, I love you, Blue Jays!
What do you think about Joe Carter?
David Carter is the best baseball player to live in this century. Alamar Carter. Woo! Jays!
All right, the party continues here on the West Coast, but it is strictly a coast-to-coast kind of party. So let's now go to Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, where we are joined with Alex J. Wally. Alex.
Okay, Dave, thank you. Pandemonium on your side. Well, let's show you. Let's take you back to see what it looked like here on the Atlantic part of the world from the Big Leagues Tavern as the big moment occurred.
It's a contrarian attitude they've got.
I changed my mind last night after I saw the polls. I don't want a liberal majority government, and I feel that I have to vote conservative in my riding anyway.
So it was the airport deal at any rate that was your personal turning point.
I think that turned me off her. I was really excited to see Miss Campbell as a new face, but as it turns out, she isn't a new face. She's just out of the same mold.
Thanks for calling.
They seem to feel that they are going to reach their conclusions in spite of the advertising campaigns, in spite of the attempts to characterize one party as one thing and another as another, in spite of the attempt on the part of the media manipulators, maybe me, for all I know, to tell them what to think and what to do.
And when we return, the art of determination.
In 2 short years, how far can you take a family sedan? Over 3,000 punishing kilometers to twice win Rally Australia. And now we've pushed the Elantra even further in champion style and performance, whether it's Outback or out front. Introducing the 1994 Hyundai Elantra. It's not your ordinary family sedan. There are some things parents will never hear.
Would it be okay if I went to bed early tonight?
Things that would be too good to be true.
Would anyone mind if I vacuum the stairs?
Luckily, some things are good and true, like the McDonald's family-sized pepperoni pizza, smothered in cheese and pepperoni for only $5.99 or 2 for $10. Every day.
No dessert for me, Mom. I don't deserve it.
Family-sized pepperoni pizza. It's a parent's dream come true.
Sure, we'd like to invest. But with what? I mean, we don't have $10,000 to put into something. Besides, we don't even know the first thing about investing. Well, what's an investment company going to do for us? We know we need to invest. Question is where?
Call investors today.
Honey, which one do you like? Oh, come on.
I like that one.
Really?
I'm out of here.
I need an objective opinion.
Hi. Maybe I can help you.
Oh, which line do you represent?
All of them. Cosmeticians at Shoppers Drug Mart are familiar with all these brands, so when we recommend something, we really think it's best for you.
So why'd you take her advice over mine?
Honey, she's a beauty expert.
So am I.
One of the things that makes artists unique is their technique. There's one school of painting that's so exclusive that only 300 people in the entire world belong. It's the Mouth and Foot Painting Artists Association. Penny Oman is a member. The Edmonton woman became a paraplegic after a tragic car crash. And as Catherine Mistel reports, she pours her soul into her work.
It's basically me sitting under a tree. It's called solitude, just finding some peace.
This is one painting Penny Oman never plans to sell.
Well, I don't know if it's something in the picture, or if it's just because it's my first.
Every stroke was a struggle, but 7 years later, her art is gaining depth and attention. So is her story.
You always think that it happens to someone else, someone older. Pretty well from that
Penny
point
is a
on,
paraplegic. She hasn't walked since the age of 14. Her message to students is that it could happen to anyone.
A drunk driver didn't take the curve, crossed the center line, and ran into the vehicle we were in.
The head-on collision killed 3 members of the family this northern Alberta woman had gone to the movies with. Even though it happened 23 years ago, anger is never far away.
On the days when you're down and depressed, it kind of surfaces, but you have to go on.
And it is this pastime that brings Penny comfort.
No.
The 37-year-old works under the watchful eye of Colonel. She is one of just 15 Canadians who belong to the Mouth and Foot Painting Artists Association. The honor is shared by 300 members worldwide.
Can you come turn the paper again?
A lack of mobility means someone has to be on hand to move her pictures, but not that or even the size of Penny's work table impose limits.
Actually, I did this guy first, going across, then turned it upside down, and worked on the bottom. Not quite Michelangelo, but
close.
I wouldn't want to attempt anything. No ceilings in my house.
No. And like a true artist, Penny won't let anything get in the way of her work.
I would like my work to be appreciated for itself, on its own merit, without the story behind it. It's done.
Catherine Mistel, CTV News, Edmonton.
Now a couple of things to watch for tomorrow on CTV's question period.
Blunt instrument. It's not a precision tool.
The Prime Minister tosses out a final campaign pitch. And on CTV News.
In this country, they had to pick the 5 biggest bozo they could get.
Political punditry with a difference. Unique perspectives on life and politics from New Brunswick. And of course, we'll send Peter Murphy back out onto the streets of Toronto to bring us a report on the Blue Jays' victory parade. That's all for us for now. I'm Sandy Ronaldo. Good night from all of us here at CTV News.
CTV News, Canada's most watched newscast.
C3, Monday on CTV.
October 25th, Decision Day. Thousands of Canadians have already made an informed choice. They've chosen this. Why? Because it's got a 3.1-liter, 160-horsepower V6 engine, an airbag, anti-lock brakes, remote keyless entry. It leases for $339 a month, and it just looks good. So, there's only one thing left to say. Vote early, vote Cutlass.
The Brick went to its manufacturers and asked for special one-time price reductions or a very special sale. The manufacturers said, yes! With this Quaker Contemporary sofa with pillowback styling, factory authorized price only $468. Save $150 on this Maytag heavy-duty automatic washer and dryer team. Factory authorized price only $998 for the pair. Everything in the store is on sale Sunday. Plus, special factory authorized savings in every department. Save big during the factory authorized sale happening Sunday at the Brick.
CFTO TV, Channel 9, Toronto. Nightbeat News with Bill Hutchison and Beverly Thompson.
Good evening. They've done it again. The Blue Jays are the 1993 World Series champions. Beverly?
Downtown Toronto is a huge party right now. We'll go to that in just a second. But first, let's relive the winning moment.
Now the 2-2. Well hit down the left field line. Way back in.
The bottom of the ninth, with the Jays trailing, Joe Carter hit a home run to give the Jays an 8-6 victory. Within seconds, the crowd on Yonge Street began to celebrate, and that's where CFTO's Tom Hayes is standing by live now with details. Tom?
Well, Bill and Bev, you are looking at perhaps the biggest party this town has ever seen. There are thousands and thousands of people that have made their way to the downtown core. After the game, I was walking out of the Sky Dome and I saw a sign and it said, "After here, Yonge Street." And close to 300,000 people have made their way down here. Police say the crowd may be as big as 500,000 people, something we've never seen before. Now, the party didn't just start. It actually got underway about halfway through the game. The party started with a few thousand people in front of the HMV store on Yonge Street. It then exploded when Joe Carter slammed his home run in the bottom of the ninth. Metro Police, for the most part, are standing back and letting the fans have fun. Now, Metro Police, for the most part, are standing back and letting the people just have some fun. We've heard that there have been a few injuries, a couple of broken bones, and one person was actually hit by a bottle not far from a truck here. But other than that, it is a very well-behaved crowd, and police are just letting people walk up and down Yonge Street and enjoy themselves after the second World Series in a row. You might hear the firecrackers that are also going off behind us. Now, who knows when this is going to end tonight, but it will all happen again tomorrow for the Blue Jays parade, which is happening down University, and you can see all of that parade live on CFTO TV. I'm sure a lot of these people will be out once again tomorrow, or perhaps they won't even go home. They'll just stay around and move from Yonge Street over to University. One thought before I leave you tonight. This is the second consecutive World Series that the Blue Jays have won. It's not enough for the Toronto crowd. We already see signs saying three-peat. So hopefully we'll see you here again next year. Tom Hayes reporting live from a very noisy Yonge Street.
Thanks, Tom. I think you're right. I think that celebration is just going to continue right on until tomorrow when they have the Jays Victory Parade. That starts in about 14 hours from now. The motorcade begins at Queen's Park Circle at 3 o'clock and proceeds down University Avenue. It then goes west along Wellington to Peter Street, south to Skydome, where the procession moves inside. A $1 admission will be charged at the door for the Skydome ceremony. And if you can't make it down to the parade route, don't worry. Beverly, Sunil, Tom Hayes and I, together with the CFTO News team, will all be live along the route, and we'll have coverage right here on CFTO starting at 3 o'clock, and we'll stay right with it right into the Dome.
In other news, one person is dead and another injured in a shooting tonight in Scarborough. Police were called to the shooting shortly after 9 at a home on the Danforth near Dawes Road. Investigators are still on the scene this hour looking for clues and for suspects. One victim was taken to Sunnybrook Medical Center. The other was rushed to St. Michael's Hospital but pronounced dead.
Students at more than 170 schools in Peel Region will be allowed to take part in some extracurricular activities starting on Monday. But Peel Education Director Robert Lee says only in-school activities will be reinstated. In-school activities include practices for athletic teams. The Peel Board canceled the activities as a precautionary measure after 5 students were diagnosed with meningitis. 2 of those students died.
Monday is Election Day, and after you cast your ballot, tune into CFTO for complete election news. We'll team up with CTV News for coast-to-coast coverage, then detailed Metro results from all of us at CFTO News at 20 minutes and 50 minutes past every hour. As well, Decision 93 Talkback. That's a chance from time to time throughout the night for you to tell us why you voted as you did.
There's been a lot of talk in this election campaign about the need to cut the deficit, but many are still not clear about the difference between the deficit and the debt. Norman Federley explains.
You owe about $16,000. That's every Canadian's share of the national debt that's threatening to blot out the way we live in this country. It's an issue we're finally talking about.
I think the deficit has to definitely be attacked. There's no doubt, because taxpayers are spending about 50 cents on the money raised by the government is going to pay the deficit. And the interest on it, absolutely.
I would say it's one of the major issues related to the job creation, because the one relates to the other, you know.
Let's say this stack of boxes represents the money that Ottawa takes in every year. Everything from income tax to GST to the federal share of the price of a liter of gasoline. This stack, however, is the money that Ottawa spends every year on everything from Medicare to unemployment insurance. The difference is the deficit. Take this year's deficit, add it to the deficits from other years, and you have the national debt, which may scale $500 billion in the next few months. When we talk about cutting the deficit, we're really talking about cutting the interest bill on the national debt. Because we spend more than we make, we have to borrow the money. Mostly nowadays it comes from abroad. Foreigners generally think Canada is a good risk, but our overspending has some concern. Both Ottawa and the provinces have had the equivalent of a call from the bank about being overdrawn. The danger lies in piling up deficits year after year. because soon Ottawa may do nothing but pay interest on the debt. No money for Medicare, no money for unemployment insurance, no money for anything else. So cut the deficit, wipe it out, and balance the books. Not as easy as it sounds. Most of what Ottawa spends goes to people. Checks for pensions, checks for unemployment insurance. If you're going to cut the deficit, says economist Carl Sonnen, there will be some people who now get a check who won't get one anymore. And that's what politicians are reluctant to talk about this time.
In a sense, the fiscal framework and the difficulties with the deficit are going to put that social agenda on the table, too. And that's, I suspect, where we will have a lot of discussion in the country over the next 4 or 5 years. And then we'll have one of our Donnybrooks called an election, and that's what the agenda of the fight's going to be about, my guess.
Canadians have learned that hard and unpopular choices are needed to get the country's finances in order. Whether we have the will to make them is a matter for the future. But meanwhile, the debt mounts. It's risen nearly $200,000 in the last 2.5 minutes. Norman Federley, CJOH News.
Ontario Provincial Police in Niagara are investigating a car crash that happened on the Peace Bridge in Fort Erie last night. The car lost control and skid backwards into a tractor-trailer parked by the duty-free shop on the Peace Bridge. The driver of the car, 41-year-old Gil De Silva of Mississauga, had to be pried out of his Buick Skylark by the jaws of life. De Silva is in serious condition at the Douglas Memorial Hospital in Fort Erie.
If rhythm and blues are your thing, then Queen Street was the place to be today. The Paul James Band and the Downchild Blues Band took part in a fundraiser for the Daily Bread Food Bank. Non-perishable food and money were being accepted by organizers.
Children from troubled homes got a boost today from the Sterling Community Service Foundation. More than 130 volunteers donated their time, energy, and skills to build a play area for a home owned by the Children's Aid Society. By early afternoon, a basketball court, a jungle gym, and a balance beam were well on the way to completion.
Rare coins were being auctioned off today at the Primrose Hotel. Coin collectors from across Canada and the U.S. brought their wares to the Torex Coin Show and auction. There were Canadian and ancient foreign coins up for bid, as well as paper money. The highest priced coin at the show was a Newfoundland gold $2 coin from 1872 on sale for $55,000. The coin show continues tomorrow.
A pumpkin party got underway today at Black Creek Pioneer Village. Children and adults got a head start on Halloween and some good old-fashioned seasonal games like apple on a string, throw the hoop over the pumpkin, and witch pitch. If you missed it today, the pumpkin party will be taking place again tomorrow, again at Black Creek Pioneer Village.
My favorite game. Back in a moment. First, here's Win TV.
Witch pitch?
Oh, yeah.
This is Win TV, brought to you by the Ontario Lottery Corporation.
Cash-a-Dang is a residence for Native students in Thunder Bay. A lottery-funded grant assists.
Today's winning Fig Tree number is 074. The Lotterio numbers are 1, 25, 26, 36, 40, 44, the bonus 11. The jackpot is estimated at $820,000. The early bird numbers are 1, 11, 20, and 29. Tonight's Lotto 649 numbers are 3, 22, 31, 32, 33, and 39. The bonus, 5. The jackpot is estimated at $15 million. The winning encore number is 353629. With encore, you can even win on the last digit. Watch Win TV tomorrow for more winning numbers.
And if you missed any of those numbers, we'll have them for you at the end of the show.
But up next, we'll have the weather details. Stay with us.
Every time you play your favorite Ontario lottery, good things happen in communities like yours. You help groups like the Ontario Coalition for Better Child Care.
Caring is so important. We're making good things happen. Because children are our future.
Every time you play your favorite Ontario lottery, someone's dream comes true. The Ontario Lottery Corporation and you.
Together we're making good things.
On the surface, this carpet's clean, but not to Hoover. Only Hoover is power-wise, designed to clean deep into the micro-zone for superior cleaning power using less energy. Insist on clean. Insist on Hoover. To the eye, this carpet's clean, but not to Hoover. Only Hoover is power-wise, designed to clean deep into the micro-zone for superior cleaning power using less energy. Insist on clean. Insist on Hoover.
My life isn't about throwing money around. It's about hanging on to it. It's not about owning a $40,000 car. It's about owning a good car. It's not how much something costs that matters to me. It's how well it works. Look, don't tell me what I want. Show me you've got what I need. Mutual funds. We manage to outperform.
And there's great weather for the people celebrating on Yonge Street tonight. Great weather hopefully all night into tomorrow.
Indeed, Mother Nature is a Blue Jays fan. Here's a brief look at the forecast. A strong high-pressure system is sitting over the American Midwest and stretching to south of the Great Lakes. Its effects are being felt throughout southern Ontario, bringing sunshine and mild temperatures. But that low-pressure system just northwest of the lakehead will bring clouds and rain by Tuesday when it gets here. Tonight it's going to be clear with strong southwest winds at 30 kilometers an hour. The overnight low will be 5 degrees in the city, considerably cooler in cottage country. In fact, they could get some rain or even some snow flurries from Parry Sound to Peterborough. Sunday, the weather office is calling for sunshine and a few clouds. The winds will continue to come from the southwest. That means temperatures will be 15 to 18 for the Blue Jays parade. That's 2 to 5 degrees above normal. Monday, sunny again with a few clouds and remaining warm with a high of 18 degrees. Tuesday, however, our luck runs out. That low-pressure system I mentioned earlier will bring scattered showers through the day. It will stay warm, however, with a high of 17. Wednesday, the low moves out, but it will still be cloudy and windy, and it will cool off to a low of 3 and a high of only 10. Right now, it's 8 degrees. At the airport, it's about 4 degrees warmer. Downtown, where all the fans are, about 12 degrees on Yonge Street. The wind is from the south at 15 kilometers an hour.
I think it's about 45 degrees warmer at that time.
It doesn't get much better than that.
Okay, so we can officially paint the town blue, right? The Leafs won, they're 9-0. The Varsity Blues won.
You mean somebody else played tonight other than the
No, they lost.
Oh, baseball.
Yeah. Sorry about that. We'll get to that. The perfect setup, a chance to win baseball's biggest prize in front of the home folks. In this case, 52,000 plus inside Sky Dome and more than 500,000 around the city, just waiting to explode in celebration. The cast of characters changing dramatically from a year ago. Jimmy Key, Tom Henke, and Dave Steve, longtime members of the organization, gone. Replaced by the likes of Dave Stewart, Ricky Henderson, and Paul Molitor. Well, Dave Stewart, who was 4-0 in clinching situations but had problems in Game 2, opens this one by whiffing Lenny Dykstra. Jay's offense quickly turns the trick in the bottom of the first, something they did in Game 3 and 4 at the vet. Paul Molitor hitting a sizzling 476 triples in Devon White. Joe Carter followed with a sacrifice fly, and John Olerud hit a 2-out double. Robbie Alomar cashes in Ole with a single, make it 3-0. Stu had the Phils under wraps until the fourth inning. Jim Eisenreich, who ripped a 3-run dinger off him in Game 2, delivers a 2-out RBI single. Heading into this season, many wondered if Paul Molitor could fill Dave Winfield's shoes. Well, he can't because he doesn't have big feet, but he had a career year following that in the postseason. This is 11th hit, a solo smash off Mulholland in the fifth. Jays in front 5-1. Holding what they thought was a comfortable 4-run lead, the never-say-die Phillies bite back. Dykstra cracks a 3-run homer to chase Stu from the game in the seventh. And then the celebrating comes to an abrupt end when Dave Hollins drives a single off Danny Cox. Mariano Duncan, the tying run comes in. Phillies erase a 5-1 deficit and lead 6-5 going to the bottom of the seventh. Larry Anderson made his manager and teammates squirm in the dugout. The bases are loaded in the eighth, 52,800 screaming for a hit. Pat Borders pops out to end the rally. But in the ninth, 2 out, 2 on base, the Wild Thing serves it up for Joe Carter, who was very quiet through the first 5. Listen and enjoy.
the 2-2. Well hit down the left field line. Way back and
Blue Jays repeat as World Series champions, standing by live at Skydome at the scene of the crime. CFTO's George Sprague. George.
Well, Sunil, I never realized how much champagne in the eye hurts until this evening, but things are kind of quiet down here at the Skydome right now. The crews are working, cleaning up after the ball game and getting ready for tomorrow's victory celebration following the parade. Now, for the 52,000 fans who are here, they've taken their celebration out into the streets tonight. And for the fans and for the players, a great deal to celebrate early as the Jays took the lead. Disappointment as the Phillies charged back, and then absolute pandemonium when Joe Carter hit the game-winning home run in the bottom of the ninth. Celebrating in the stands, celebrating on the field, and of course, a lot of celebrating in the Blue Jays clubhouse immediately following the game.
I tell you what, it may have been tough the first time, but it was no more exciting the second time. We were out there, we had some fun. The Phillies made it tough to win in front of the home crowd. I mean, that's the epitome of baseball and win a championship. Back-to-back, and we do it in dramatic fashion in the bottom of the ninth. I mean, you could not have written a better script, and I'm thankful for God that he did give me a chance to be here.
People ask you what you feel in a moment like this, and for me, it's a feeling of thankfulness. After all that has come my way and the blessings, this was just a great opportunity. And to win a game in that fashion, I think it's last time was Bill Mazeroski, is that right? That hit a home run to win a World Series, and when I saw that ball go out of the park, it was just really a dream come true. So I'm very thankful, and I appreciate this award very much.
He was, just played his heart out all year, and looked like we almost blew that game, but these guys never quit. They just like the Phillies. Phillies are a great group of guys, and they just kept battling, we kept battling.
All the things that, I've been through since Toronto, through the nagging injury and stuff like this, this will put the icing on the cake. I enjoyed it more.
And of course, the word three-peat was used a few times in the Blue Jays clubhouse. They're thinking about it next year already. Blue Jays are the first team since the Yankees of 77-78 to repeat as World Series champions. They're just the 18th team to have ever done it. A huge celebration here tonight at Skydome. It was just great. George Bryson reporting live from Skydome. Now back to Sunil at the desk.
Thank you, George. Parade, of course, is at 3 o'clock. We'll have that one. Maple Leafs wrapped up their two-game swing through the Sunshine State this evening. Stopped the Thunderdome in St. Petersburg. On the line, the NHL record for most victories at the start of a season. 22,000-plus non-baseball fans on hand for this contest.
Who is to argue? The chicken cordon bleu sandwich at Arby's, where different is good.
Jackie Walker and Rick Pfeiffer are News 4's Night Team, tonight at 11.
I plan on watching some football tomorrow. Have a parade and watching some football.
now the 2-2. Well hit down the left field line. Way back in. Joe Carter with a 3-run homer. The winners and still world champions, the Toronto Blue Jays.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel.
I'm Terry Bradshaw. Way to go, Toronto.
Joe Carter wanted football. We've got it for you on Week 8 of the NFL today, plus something you didn't bargain for. It's his first ever National Football Quiz.
Get ready.
Now, one of our early games today. The 5-1 Saints host the 1-5 Falcons. These teams met back in Week 2 and were tied 31-all in the final seconds.
Barnhart to hold with 5 seconds left. Here's the snap. Ball down. Kick in the air. It's good! The Saints win!
For Morton Anderson, 5 of his 16 game-winning field goals have come against the Falcons. For more on today's game, let's go down on the field to Leslie Visser. Leslie?
Hi, Greg and Terry. As you know, this is the best NFL rivalry south of the Mason-Dixon line. And today, the question for the Falcons is at quarterback. Bobby Hebert has been sidelined since October 3rd with tendinitis in his right elbow. And about a half an hour ago, I asked him about it. Bobby, it's been a tough week for you with your elbow. How is it feeling, and do you think you're going to be able to play?
Well, I think I'll be able to play. I don't know if it'll be at the beginning or sometime, during the game, but I think I'm going to, have that opportunity.
Hebert said he didn't know how much he'd be able to play today. As for starting, Jerry Glanville told me just about 5 minutes ago that he's leaning toward Billy Joe Tolliver. For Hebert, of course, this is a very emotional and important game for him. He spent 7 seasons as a Saint. Greg?
All right, thank you, Leslie. We'll be back with Leslie in a few minutes for her conversation with Deion Sanders of the Falcons. Now, last week, the Saints were trounced by Pittsburgh. Wasn't all Wade Wilson's fault, was it?
No, it wasn't. Friendly weatherman here. Let me say, folks, last week, 5 sacks, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles by the Saints. The Saints are an effective offense, number one, when they run the football. In the last 5 games that they won, they rushed for over 100 yards, but when they can't rush for 100 yards, whew, they get in a lot of trouble. Watch what happens. All of a sudden, the Steelers know the Saints have to throw. This is Willie Roth, right tackle rookie. Kevin Green coming around, putting the pressure on Roth. Hold it right there. Now, you say, well, that's his fault. Look over here. Covert. He doesn't even have anything to do. They got him so covered. The key for the Saints' attack offensively, Greg, they need to run the football. When they do that, they take the pressure off away. They take it off their offensive line. They can do play action, do pretty much anything they want to do.
Not to say Willie Roth's a bad player. He's an outstanding football player.
Has had perfect games, according to Paul Boudreaux, the offensive line coach. Perfect 5 games up till last week.
All right, Terry. The Buccaneers host the Packers in an NFC Central showdown this afternoon. Green Bay has won 4 of the last 5 games between these teams. Darrell Thompson will start at running back for Green Bay. The Packers in trouble now after trading their leading rusher, John Stevens, for Eric Dickerson, who's out of football. Green Bay tried to get Tim Worley from the Steelers, but lost out to divisional rival Chicago. Reggie White had 3 big sacks to kill a Broncos comeback in the Packers' last game. How will Tampa Bay stop him today? Hank Stram is on the field with more.
Reggie White is going to be playing against a mystery guest at left tackle this afternoon. That's Paul Gruber, who just signed a contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And what a crazy, bizarre week it's been for Paul Gruber. First of all, Tuesday morning, he's had his house up for sale for many, many months. He finally got an offer to sell the house. That afternoon, he finds out that he's conditionally traded to the Los Angeles Raiders. Then he thinks about the offer, and he said, well, this is going to work out fine. I'll stall this guy, and maybe I'll get the full amount if I stall him. Now they're Wednesday morning. He finds out Wednesday morning that the deal with the Raiders did not go through. Then he gets a call from Mr. Culverhouse wanting him to talk to him about a new contract. He does that. He signs a 4-year contract at $2.4 million a year, and he's all happy. He goes back to his house. His wife says, guess what? We got a full offer to sell the house. He says, I just signed a new contract. And she says, forget the whole thing, forget the house, we're going to stay right here. Now, that's what transpired. Now, you two Palookas have to understand, since you got a quiz week up there in New York, I'm going to give you a quiz on what I just told you. And if you can figure out what I just said, be sure and let me know so I can figure it out myself.
Palookas? Tampa Bay against Green Bay. Can the Bucs win this one today?
You know what? Tampa Bay beat the Detroit Lions earlier in the year when Detroit was leading the division, NFC Central. And the way they did it, Greg, they did it with a good, solid running game and didn't put a lot of pressure on their young quarterback, Craig Erickson. Well, you're going to get tired of hearing this, folks, but if you're going to win in this NFL, you got to run the football, especially with a young quarterback, and they have a defense in Tampa Bay, man, that is playing like gangbusters. So run the football, takes the pressure off of Craig Erickson.
All right, Terry. The 2-4 Rams host the 4-2 Lions in Anaheim today, with Detroit looking for its first win on the West Coast in 11 years. The Lions have gone 0-11 there since they beat the Rams back on September the 19th, 1982. The contract controversy continues between running back Barry Sanders and the Lions. There were no negotiations this past week between his agent and the team. Sanders' agent is threatening to have his man sit out before season's end.
If I decide to do it, then it's no one that can stop me, basically. I'm going to do it because I felt like that's what I needed to do, you know, not because I was convinced to do it or not because of, you know, it was any other way to get the thing done.
The two sides are said to be nearly $1 million per year apart on a new 4-year deal. Detroit is without Pro Bowl linebacker Pat Swilling and receiver Brett Perryman today. Neither made the trip because of injuries. Jim Everett starts at quarterback for Los Angeles with definite signs that his job may be in jeopardy. Second-year man T.J. Rubley practiced with the main team for the first time since preseason this week. He was a step behind, but is backing up Everett today. Also for Los Angeles, Sean Gilbert will start at defensive tackle, although he did not practice this week, and Robert Young will miss his second straight game at defensive end. In one of our late games this afternoon, some of you will see the Phoenix Cardinals take on the 49ers at Candlestick Park. Steve Berline had the hot hand for Phoenix last Sunday. He connected for 250 yards through the air and 1 touchdown as his Cards trounced the Washington Redskins. Meanwhile, the 49ers lost last week to the Dallas Cowboys, falling to 3-3, and some say taking a step backwards from the dominant NFL franchise they once were. Earlier this morning, we spoke with 49ers owner Edward DeBartolo, and I asked him if he's disappointed with his team's performance.
This is a very unusual year for us. It's a very unusual year for our team. We're in somewhat of a state of transition. I think that the team is trying to seek out its own identity. What we have, I know the team's not in disrepair. We're nowhere near that.
Eddie, are you surprised that two of your offensive stars, primarily Ricky Waters, Jerry Rice being the other one, have come out openly and have criticized their participation thus far in the 49er offense?
Well, both of those guys, I think you can start with Jerry Rice. They are so ultra-competitive. I think that, that they just get carried away a little bit. They are both superior football players, and I think that, right now that they're going through a mindset that they're trying to do too much. They want to do too much to help the team. And I think that things are going to settle down and everybody will be in their position, and we'll get things back on track here.
Eddie, seeing how Joe Montana has performed this season for the Chiefs when he's been healthy, if you had it to do over again, would you trade Joe?
It's not would we trade Joe. Joe wanted to be traded. Because of the situation out here, because of his intense competitiveness and his desire to play, he really wanted to be traded. He wanted to be traded to Kansas City, and that's where we traded him. I don't think Joe right now, if Joe was playing for the 49ers, he would really be having a tough time because Steve Young's taken quite a beating so far this year.
Niners owner Ed DeBartolo. Still ahead, the Terry quiz. But next, we'll jump from a Sunday afternoon straight into prime time with Deion.
$30188. That's 1-800-263-0188.
This is CBC Television, Toronto. The following is a special presentation of CBC Sports.
Some could not bear to watch. The field generals would show the strain and feel the anxiety. It was another nervous night in the World Series. It was also a chance for redemption, a hero in waiting. The stage was set. The moment at hand. The telltale pitch hurtled towards home plate. Joe Carter makes the Blue Jays repeat series champions, bounding into the record books. Pandemonium at home plate. A delirious celebration. Mutual admiration and respect. A hero rose among us for the grandest occasion of them all. Eastern, we are live at Skydome. A crowd has already gathered here in the Dome. In about 3 hours, the players will arrive here in this building to celebrate the first World Series ever won in Canadian soil as we pan up to our host position, the broadcast booth here at the south end of Skydome. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning to our Western viewers. I'm Brian Williams. Welcome to CBC's exclusive network coverage of celebrations for the 1993 World Series champion Toronto Blue Jays. Now, those of you that were expecting to see the Canadian Football League, the BC Lions and the Ticats, that game will not be shown this afternoon. Of course, during the regular season, Speedy Muffler, Friday Night Baseball, the network coverage for the Blue Jays here in CBC. This afternoon, thus, CBC will provide full coast-to-coast coverage of the celebrations. It should be a wild afternoon here in downtown Toronto. You can hear the crowd behind me. Let me set the stage for you. There will be presentations and speeches here in the Dome later this afternoon. Of course, the parade will start up at Queen's Park, site of the Ontario Legislature. It will wind its way through downtown Toronto. Eventually, the players in a long cavalcade coming here to the Skydome. We'll have interviews with the players this afternoon. We'll have highlights of the ALCS, the World Series. We'll talk with a lot of the broadcasters, the people involved in this World Championship. Chris Cuthbert joins me here in the booth in just a minute. But right now, let's go live to Queen's Park as we say good afternoon to Ken Daniels.
Thank you very much, Brian. This is Queen's Park, the Ontario Legislature, and this is where this parade is going to begin. And then it's going to head downtown Toronto, right down University Avenue. You can see behind me there are thousands of people already lining the streets. The nice thing about last night in the post-game celebrations, unlike Dallas when the Cowboys won the Super Bowl and Montreal when the Canadians won the Stanley Cup, no riots in the streets. There were millions in downtown Toronto, but everything was pretty orderly. One more thought. It was last week that I was in Edmonton hosting Hockey Night in Canada, and one of the folks there on our crew said to me, "Do you think the Jays are going to win the World Series?" And I said, "Well, of course." I said, "Gee, you're being nonchalant about this. Remember how quickly all this can fade. It happened to us with the Edmonton Oilers, and for baseball, you need look no further than the White Sox, the Red Sox, the Phillies, how few and far between World Series can come." So fans here today hopefully will relish this day and enjoy it just like last year. Let's go further down the parade route now and say hello to Scott Russell. Scott?
Well, Ken, you're looking at a camera shot high above our CBC Broadcast Center here on Wellington Street. We're at the corner of Simcoe and Wellington Street. The Blue Jays will make their way down here. They'll turn left at Peter Street onto Blue Jay Way and on into the Sky Dome, which might be called the Thunderdome, when all those people welcome the World Series heroes. Tell you a story of two cities. I was in Montreal last night broadcasting a game between the Mighty Ducks and the Canadians. After the game, we raced into the studio with the Mighty Ducks, and we watched the ninth inning, the dramatic home run by Joe Carter. The Ducks celebrated. We all celebrated. It was a much smaller celebration than there will be here today. Hundreds of thousands of people expected to line this route and to meet their World Series heroes, the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll talk to as many of them, the Blue Jays, as we can. Right now, let's send it back to Brian Williams.
All right, Scott Russell. Chris Cuthbert did play-by-play of that game last night, the Mighty Ducks and the Montreal Canadiens. Chris, you worked baseball, Speedy Muffler baseball during the season. Some thoughts on this World Series?
Well, as Scott mentioned, some of the Mighty Ducks came and joined us. There was Troy Loney from Bow Island, Alberta, and Terry Yake from New Westminster, BC, and they weren't going to the team bus until they had seen the last out of the last home run of the baseball game. But my thoughts, Brian, a year ago we were here covering the first World Series celebration, and I think we both wondered, can they ever match this spectacular, magical feeling again? And in the last 48 hours, I think we've got the answer, because it was just as special the second time. They won at home, which made it special, and of course, different cast of characters led by Paul Molitor made it special to watch some players win it for the first time. So it was a great night, and it's going to be a great day of celebration.
Going to be an exciting day. Joe Carter, the Bill Mazeroski of 1993. We'll hear from Joe Carter, talk to the players later this afternoon. Of course, to get into a World Series, you first, Chris Cuthbert, have to make it to the big leagues. This afternoon, as we get in the baseball mood, we are proud to present a CBC documentary about three young players in the Blue Jays farm system. They play for the St. Catharines, Ontario Blue Jays, and as we talk World Series, they are truly chasing the dream.